noise.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy. With the full band, what are one or two of the songs that you have the most fun playing?
I mean, I'm always going to be a big fan of Super Stupid. And, you know, Dog Star, Fly On is like just a childhood thing that I've always wanted to play that right. And when we were on tour with Red Hot Chili Peppers, we got to play Fly On and Super Stupid like back to back, which is crazy. There's a lot of energy involved and there's a lot of stretching out. You know, first 12 minutes. These two songs, so we're stretching them big, you know, 13, 14 minutes, whatever. So those are two of my favorite songs. I mean, if I had another one, obviously playing Maggot Brain at the show, just being at so many shows and then having all this pocket going on and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you have somebody like Dennis or somebody get up there and play Maggot Brain and play like, you know, whole different style of drumming all of a sudden. More like Neil Peartish all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Or like Dennis or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I always wanted to be at that level of drumming. Like I'm like, okay, I'm able to play pocket all night, and then this middle part, I just go into the progressive drum thing and then come back to the groove again.
How much do you feel like your playing has progressed since you first started?
Decision making has changed. Now I've just been working more on the physical of it. You know, I was like, okay, I can do certain things. You know, when I was younger playing on the show, like, you know, I was going for blood and I'd just be looking like, this is crazy. Like I can still do some of that stuff, but I'm just like, wow, you know, but that's only from doing it so much. But I would assume getting back on the road and doing it again, I'll probably be doing some more stuff that I've never done before, you know. But that all requires you to play more. How
thrashed do you feel after a full show?
It depends on how full it is. If it's only a 2-hour show, I'm alive. 3 hours, depending on what we're doing, I can give you a good 3. I've had to do 4. Done 4. That was brutal. For the most part, I've worked up the conditioning to be able to withstand it without being dead, you know. But at our peak of touring and all that stuff, there's a lot of working out, not even a whole lot of working out, but, you know, a couple miles walked and lift a weight here and there, you know, some push-ups, that type of stuff that you're doing that's not on the set is what helps when it comes to like just like wind. At that point, I just figured out that you had to get wind. I can play drums now. I just need wind, you know. So it's like, okay, so that's going to require me to walk some miles.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to require me to run a little bit, you know, do a couple hundred push-ups, all that type of stuff, and it all helps.
For somebody who's never been there, Benzel, what's it like being backstage at a P-Funk show today, and how was it different 10 years ago?
It's still a chaotic P-Funk backstage thing, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Things are a lot more regulated nowadays, especially with the COVID thing. But even before that, just with the whole switch and, you know, us having like a half young, half old band now. There's been a whole lot of rules, as opposed to like back in the day, there weren't many rules. There were different kind of rules. Like back in the day, you can just pull anybody backstage you want, anytime. That ain't happening no more. You got to go through all types of stuff to get, you know, to do that type of stuff. But for the most part, other than that, there's still the party scene. It's still a huge party backstage, which is part of the show. And it's always going to have to be some type of thing like that, because that is part of the show. The whole, like the party backstage, all types of people back there and everything. The numbers have gone down, but back in the day, it used to be a whole lot of people backstage. Like, everywhere. Who's that? I don't know. Who's that? I don't know. Now we kind of have it regulated. Yeah, now we got it regulated a little bit. You know, oh, that's this person, that's that person, that's family, that's, you know, stuff like that. But it's still wild. It's still rated R back there.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
PG-13, between R and 13. It's definitely gone down a little bit, but there's still the R factor and there's the PG-13 factor.
I always wonder too, you know, the group is so big, it's so unusual today, especially to have groups that big touring and playing. You know, how is the tour able to be financed, you know, so that everyone gets paid? You know, when there's so many people, you got all the musicians, you got the background singers, you got the, you know, the roadies, you got all that. It's such a big production.
You got to make some cuts. Some people are going to have to do 2 jobs instead of 1 sometime, you know, but they're still able to keep it together. Luckily, you have the, you know, the value of George, which, you know, certain shows is a little bit higher than others sometimes. But, you know, they've been doing it for so long that they, you know, they kind of got that thing where they just know, you know, such and such is going to, you know, the travel and everything. And then, you know, everything else is going to guys getting paid and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad they can pull it off. We all are. But, you know, I'll think, you know, man, how do they keep that afloat? It must be challenging.
Well, you know, the best thing about, you know, George and was just that they had a lot of shows. So it's like when you have a lot of shows, you know, everybody can still win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of shows, which is about to start happening again. But, you know, George being the age that he is, he's definitely able to demand a little more money because he's at the level that he's at, and, you know, all the things that he's doing, and, you know, art and, you know, this magazine, that magazine, the creator of Afrofuturism or something, you know what I mean? And
yeah, especially after the
all
Grammy
this stuff
too.
He's doing. Yeah, and all this stuff that, you know, George is still a part of, which is a beautiful thing. So I think when you have icons, you know, they're able to get a little bit more money demanded, you know, and some people will pay it.
It was interesting how that retirement thing kind of came out and then kind of went by the wayside. And, you know, I don't think anyone really believes that, you know, George will retire still.
I think he'll hang in there. I think he might, you know, most people that retire go back to work. They still retired. Yeah, my aunt was retired a couple times just to say, like, yeah, I retired, but it means that I'm just working on my own terms now.
Well, I think also the
which
pandemic,
he's doing anyway.
The pandemic was like a sabbatical anyway. So, you know.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be the little Europe thing, which is coming up. It's supposed to be farewell. They're calling it the farewell tour for that Europe thing. But, you know, I think it's only because it was supposed to be the farewell tour when we were on that last tour and everything just got messed up. So we're just continuing what that was. You know, like how people are like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to hold him to his word on this one. I'm like, I don't really think it's his word. I think it's just the carryover. You didn't tell me he was retiring.
at some point he's going to stop performing. Do you think that
maybe?
Do you think the P-Funk thing will still continue?
We have no choice but to try to continue on. You know, I'm sure there'll be other branches of funk, and I'm sure there'll be people that want, you know, George's band to back them up on something. That's definitely going to happen. That's for sure. But for the most part, I feel like we have no choice but to continue.
Well, I mean, the funk, especially the P-Funk, has to continue, right? I mean,
it only grows stronger. And I mean, you know, if that means we just have other, you know, new entities of the funk, it'll still be the funk, but it has to be the actual funk though. And that's the only issue right now with the guys, with the music that's going on with the funk and stuff. It has to be the actual funk though.
Authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, we're not necessarily getting the actual funk. We're getting some fusion funk. You know, we're getting some rock funk, or just, you know, funkadelic. We're getting some of that. But it's not the authentic on the one funk that we, you know, and it's a new time. So, you know, it's like, oh, that's old school or whatever. And it's also funky. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of this stuff isn't really funky.
What are one or two of the most challenging songs that you play live?
Well, now that we have Trafiel in the band with his death metal, it's not even death metal. It's more like, it's like Christian prog, kinda. It's a lot of stuff going on.
Dirty Queen.
But, yeah. That would definitely be one of the hardest songs, because it's got all these things that I don't normally do, double pedal and you know, all these blast beats and things like that. That has to be done on stage, whatever George calls it. Takes a lot out of you, you know. But getting over that hump, finally got over that hump. It took me a couple times to do it. And like, you actually, you know, playing this little track that we're doing, the little pole power thing. It's not that it's difficult, but it's like you're switching through songs in time, like 4 or 5 different songs that you're just going straight into with a track. So what's difficult is making sure that you're hearing everything properly. This is why monitors and all that stuff is very important, because you're playing the tracks and stuff, and one, you know, false move and everything's destroyed. So that's like really important. So that becomes like a challenge. You know, if I can't hear stuff that I need to hear, then it's going to require me to either have to, like, again, pull back or go for it, which if I can't hear, I'm just going off a heart time, which I have a pretty good meter. I'm pretty good in the time realm, but, you know, having the stuff heard properly makes it so much better.
Yeah.
So sometimes that pole power thing can be a little bit difficult. Also, you know, a song like you know, sometimes Alice could be a little, you know, that's a little thing that you have to get to if you're playing it a certain way. Like if you're just playing it like with 16th notes on the bell for the whole song and 16th notes the whole time, that could be a little bit more difficult than just playing chords. So you're playing 16th notes on the ride for 5 minutes and hitting like some hits on the cymbals, and you're trying to play this certain, like these certain grooves. And the thing about George is just being able to go into a vamp. And a vamp is just playing that joint in a time continuum. And we might be here for a long time. That's one of the most difficult things about P-Funk, being able to like stay consistent for a long period of time, you know, and keeping your stamina up and your wind up. So there's a lot of songs that require that. Sometimes it could be, you know, it could be Red Hot Mama, it could be Super Stupid, like depending on like the tempos and stuff like that. All those things can be very challenging, which requires you to just, as a drummer, have to work on playing 16th notes with one hand for a long period of time over a groove. So once you get over that, and then being able to like do fills and stuff and come back to that, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of that. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. That's funk.
Yeah.
16ths on the high. That's funkadelic funk, but yeah.
What's something that maybe most people would be surprised related to George Clinton that you could share? Is there anything? It could just be some quirk that he has, or something that you saw, or a memory, or some, whatever.
Surprised? I mean, you just expect George to do the most off the wall things all the time.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe it would be like that he likes to, read some sophisticated book or something. I don't know.
Oh man, this is good. This is good. I don't know. There's so many things that George does that are just ridiculous. Between like these paintings that he's doing, which is just ridiculous, that are just like, George is colorblind. So I don't know how he has all this colorful stuff all the time, and he doesn't really see color like that. That's pretty ridiculous to me. And he's a painter now. I mean, just look at his shoes, look at everything, look at his hair. It used to be like all colorful. That's one crazy thing. Another thing about this guy is that he like always be trying to go fishing and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like he's always like going fishing and frying up some fish and stuff. This is like one of his favorite things to do, like go fishing and like fry up some fish and stuff. Like, okay, that's what he likes to do. Hey, everybody likes to do what they like to do. I like playing drums. It's just so funny. He has that wide catalog of music, so he can just listen to his own music if he wanted to forever. So I think it's great that he gets to like hear some other things, like some hip hop stuff, and I guess he has a lot of music that's brought to him because he has a studio and things like that. So a lot of people want him to check out this and check out that. But like he has this wide catalog of music, and he's still making music today. Somehow, he's still like doing stuff, and he's got some stuff coming out soon. He's always got something in store.
Have you gotten to spend much time with Bootsy?
Me and Bootsy have a thing. He held me as a baby. He told me one day he would, have me playing with him or something like that. We have played together. We played that gig at the Apollo. We played a song together, and I've just always loved Boot. He's always been a part of my funk thing. Bootsy on his face has always been like legendary to me. Like, oh my God. But he's definitely like really close to the family. I wish I could see him more. Whenever he's in like Maryland or playing somewhere in DC, I'll go to the show and I get to go back and hang with him backstage and stuff like that. So, that's cool. I'd like to, maybe do a record or something with him. Who knows?
Well, he's not playing live anymore, it looks like, but he's still doing new music, so that could happen.
Oh yeah, he can still lay down a little bass line for me, maybe. But he is definitely one of my uncles. I appreciate him helping me out in this career, just being there for me, more support, stuff like that. Like, yeah, you're doing the thing, Big uncle.
I'm still hoping somehow, some way that he and George, do something together before it's said and done, in the studio.
Probably already did.
Probably. I can only imagine how much stuff has been recorded that we haven't heard,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what George is going to do. He might do something with like Snoop or something. I think he is doing something with like Snoop, and he's doing the West Coast thing. They're really embracing that West Coast, that funk thing. So, yeah. I'm sure George has some things that's going to come out.
In your experiences touring with the group, can you share one or two shows or just memories that just really stand out to you?
Paradiso is my favorite venue, like top 5 in the world. So being able to play there for the first time was just like something about that place. I think it's an old church or whatever. So, it's just like, it's a spiritual vibe in there. And like my first time playing there, it just felt so special. Every time I go there, I still feel the same way. Like, wow, this is one of my favorite places to be at. It's just a very pretty place. You ever seen it?
No, I mean, I've heard of it. But...
Amsterdam. And we played there. There's a couple, you can look on YouTube, playing for George's birthday out there one time. So it kind of, took me back to Woodstockish type times. Most of the time we always play around, July 20th or something like that. Woodstock was July 22nd, 1999. So, or the 23rd, both of those days. So it's always like, whenever I have shows around that time, it's always kind of special. So yeah, Paradiso is a great place. I don't even remember, but we played there like pretty much every year we go to Europe. Then of course, playing on stage with Red Hot Chili Peppers, it was one of the greatest things I ever did, and just having a relationship with Flea and Chad and the guys, and just hanging out with Flea and talking and being like, yeah, I'm ready to play, man. Let me know when you're ready to play. And just be joking around like that. And he's like, you know what? Put Benzel's drums up there. I'm like, he's not joking. So he tells the one guy, he's like, hey, put Benzel's drums up there. And then that guy tells another guy, and that guy tells another guy. And that's when there's a forklift putting the drums that I just played back up there. And they're putting the drums on the front of the stage for us to play Give It Away Now at the same time for Chili Peppers crowd, which was like a huge 30,000 people, no rehearsal, no lights on. They got all these candles, all the people there, you just see all these candles out there, and you just hear this beep, beep, beep sound, and that's them putting the drums up there. And it's like, all right, well, okay, we're going to do it. It's like, all right, well, again, make sure you know the record. You better know the record.
Where and when was that?
I was in Brisbane. In 2019. February 2019. Yep, that was we did 9 shows with Chili Peppers in Australia. All those shows were the greatest. It was just such a great experience being with a high caliber of musicians like them that actually respect the music as equal. So that's like crazy, and like being able to hang out with Flea and Anthony, all these guys backstage, and see Chad play drums, just like playing in a room. That was another thing I had never seen. They have all their instruments and stuff, but they got instruments just set up backstage, like in the room. But they got a jam room for all the shows. So any show, Flea or Chad just want to go bang out for 30 minutes before the show, you can just go back there and bust out on drum, and then he go on stage and kill.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. They're at that level.
But that's what it should be. You know what I'm saying? And then we get to this last gig, like I'm saying, in Florida. That's the last most memorable gig. I just did it. But it's like so many people out there. It's reminding me of like the caliber of the stages and stuff that we're playing on. Again. So we're going right back to the huge festival thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was sorry that Chili Peppers pairing didn't also hit the States, just in Australia that year.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I know they're going
possibility.
back out. They're going back out for the first time in a long time. So yeah, who knows?
They'll be in DC. They're going to be in DC. I'm gonna go. I'm probably gonna see them if we're not playing. Probably get a chance to go see him, but I don't know. Last time I seen Flea, he said, "I'll see you soon." You know, they said that we were one of their favorite bands to tour with. Like they loved it every night. They were on stage. Every night that we played, they were on the side of the stage out there. All of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How long was the P Funk set on that? Like an hour?
Yep, 59 minutes, I would say. We learned how to be professional, super professional on that stage. It's like, hey, listen, you know, y'all start when lights go up, lights come on, that's when you start. And it's like, when the show over, you hit the last note, but you're supposed to be off the stage by 9 o'clock. Which means you're going to have to stop before 9 o'clock to be off stage by 9 o'clock. We're talking about big productions now. You had to end that joint at 8:57. Bam! And that's when Big Daddy came over and said, that was a good show. Big Daddy ain't come over and said that was a big show until like the particular day that I did what I noticed that he wanted us to do. And we talked about it. He didn't talk to George about it. He didn't talk to Big Daddy is the guy that runs the whole Chili Pepper thing backstage. He's the whole 75-person production or more. He's running them. They all listen to him on the stage. So I was trying to get a relationship with that guy. You know, he's a tough guy. He's like a bear. You know, and it's like, he's really serious about his stuff. He don't joke around. But after that one show, you know, we started right. And I made sure we started right. This is on me. Made sure we started right. Made sure we ended right, which is also on me because George would just stand out there and just keep playing. But, you know, it's like, okay, I have to cut George off real quick because this is what Big Daddy said the show. This is how it's supposed to go. This is their show. So when I did that and I got off stage, Big Daddy's like, good show, Benzel. Okay. Like, again, this is how you please the bosses. You do what they want. It's only for an hour.
It's challenging for P-Funk, though, because I know I saw a couple of shows at venues where there were curfews, you know, and so they got cut prematurely. And I was always bummed at that. So when that happens, a lot of times you can only have time to do like the hits, the typical stuff. Whereas when a full show, you get to stretch out and do some of the other stuff. So,
you know how George is. He's gonna go a little longer anyway. He's gonna go until they pull the plug. Sometimes, if it's like that. But he also has ways of doing like little medleys, so he'll be able to still get the sound out of that one song, and then he'll just jump into another song. So this is when we're talking about George directing you. George's directions are more like, we about to go into this song. Get me into the song now. And I'm like, okay. So I have to figure out how we're going to just jump into this song. Okay. Yeah, so he'll be looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, all right, I'm trying to find a spot to stop. Okay, here we go. Bop. Then we go to the next thing. This is all unrehearsed. This is the thing about George. You have to be able to just jump into it. I'm actually pretty in tune with G, though. George is kind of like the pastor of the funk. You know, being in a church background, I'm able to play behind pastors. So it's kind of like that, where it's like changing, doing something else. He just wants you to watch. You have to watch him. That's basically what it's about. The more you watch, the better.
But you must zone out a little bit sometimes when you're playing one of those really long, stretched out grooves without a lot of changes.
That's when he'll catch you. He's out there trying to direct every note right now. he's a part of every note for the most part. You know, there might be a second where he might, you know, sit back and just chill like what's a maggot brain, and then, you know, when he stands up, that means we're going It's time to go big now. Let's go big. Or, it's time to go big. That's basically the signal. We're going big or we're breaking down. Most of George's signals are about the volume of the snare and being able to play not on the rim or playing like with this much of the stick, instead of like the whole stick. So now you're hitting it with that much of the stick on the rim. It's all dynamics with him. All about dynamics. So it's hard to zone. I can zone because when you do, you're doing what you want, what he wants for a little while, and then he'll start messing with the crowd. Now you can, until he comes back to you later. He messes with everybody, but he messes with the drummer the most. Unless the drummer's doing really good. When the drummer's doing good, he'll just say, okay, good, and he'll go mess with somebody else. It'll come back later.
What's your own favorite genre of music? What do you like to listen to mostly on your own?
Well, for me personally, I've always been an improvisationalist. Always have been infatuated with soloing and drum solos. So I listen to a lot of drum solos. I listen to a lot of drum-oriented music, like these guys playing these tracks and stuff like that. I listen to a lot of that. I play gospel music, so I listen to a lot of gospel music. I listen to a lot of jazz. And I listen to a lot of P-Funk.
Do you ever put on one of those old P-Funk records and it kind of blows your mind,
Yeah, still, because now when I listen to things, I want to be able to play it. So now when I'm listening to things, I'm listening to it in more of a way of I can play it or I want to be able to play it. So now when I listen to stuff, I look at it that way. So I say, oh, he played that, he played that. Now I'm more focused on, he played this, he played that. I never really was focused on he played this, he played that. I was just trying to play the notes of the music and play my own part. I've always been more of a music person. I learn songs through the music, not necessarily through the drum part. I make my own drum part. After you learn the regular drum part, then you make your own. That's what Dennis taught me as well. It's like you learn what they played, and then you learn your own version of that.
Do you have a favorite out of all, aside from Dennis, do you have a favorite of all the P-Funk drummers?
Ooh. When I was coming up, obviously my favorite drummer other than Dennis was Gabe, because he played on that song Dog Star, and he played on that record Dope Dog. So that record blew my mind. For some of the stuff that he was playing on there. So that was my favorite drummer first coming up. And then as I went on and started listening to more records, I started listening more to, started liking Tiki more. Because he had that foot thing. Like a John Bonham thing, but like a funk heel toe thing. So he was doing a lot of that. He could do it really loud. So I developed working on that technique from listening to him, because there was no way that I could play it like this yet. So he became one of my favorites. And then after that, then I started listening to Tyrone more, because George started listening to like some Tyrone stuff that I wasn't really familiar with. And I'd be like, he's playing that. Like it's like a lot of like real marching bandy type cadences. So that kind of took over for me. And I'm like, okay, so I need to be able to play some of that, some of the sticky stuff, obviously some of this Dennis stuff, and, kind of play a little bit of the Gabe stuff. But on the road, my favorite drummer was Rico, because like he just really felt good on all the flashlights and the stuff like that. And he, took me under his wing and showed me everything. He showed me how to set the stands right and all that stuff, and how to put the stuff right. It's like the drums got to be set up right first and foremost. And then he would show me like the pickups and stuff. Like, it's supposed to be like this, supposed to be like that. You know, like, I like what you're doing, but it's like this, you know? So I think if you're going to do your own thing to it, it has to still have an element of this. So yeah, I was under Rico for a while. Frankie too, of course.
When you mentioned Australia, it brought to mind, I know you were on a Sean Cooper's record too. So you must be
Science of Pants. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've done some tracks with Eshawn, you know, that had Angelo on it. We had a couple Fishbone guys on there, right?
Yeah.
I think my dad is on it too. The P-Funk Horns on it, George on it. A lot of people on there.
Yeah.
Oh
Did you get to meet him in person when you went down there?
Oh yeah, we're friends. I see him every time I'm there. I know his son. I knew his son when he was a baby with headphones on at the show. You know, and now he's like, I don't know. I think he's like 7 or 8. Like, he's big. Like, I can still pick him up, but I'm like, wow, this dude's big now. I can't believe it. It's been that many years I've been on the road.
So let me ask you, Benzel, tell the people, what does funk mean to you? And specifically, what does P-Funk mean to you?
Funk in general, as told by George Clinton, is the DNA of hip hop, which goes back to that psh, bop. So funk and hip hop to me is that psh, bop, is the space. And that's what funk is. Funk is like the space in between, you know, and it's like the heartbeat. It is the heartbeat of music for me. But now P-Funk to me is like, how do I explain P-Funk? P-Funk is the funkiest music of all time, at the least. I have to say that. I mean, it's P-Funk to me is James Brown, Funkadelic, and Dr. Dre combined. That's what it is. That's definitely what it is. You agree?
Yeah, except for Dre came later, but yeah.
Right. I mean, he created that thing.
G-Funk, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's why I say that. Like, it's like a lot of that stuff that he's doing is just, you know, what George already did live. So basically, P-Funk is live hip hop. Like, it's hip hop, but it's like live. But it's not necessarily hip hop grooves. It's funk, but it has a hip hop bounce to it. It's able to be rapped to, but it's live music that you can rap to. If that makes any sense, it's like Rage Against the Machine. You know, if you didn't know, a lot of Rage Against the Machine songs actually were kind of based on Alice and Red Hot. Did you know that?
Well, I could guess it, but I didn't know officially.
It's true. You can tell, you know, some of that stuff. So it's like, you know, P-Funk is MTV and hip hop combined.
What does it mean to you, though, Benzel, in terms of how it makes you feel?
Shoo. To me, what, P-Funk or funk in general?
Go with P-Funk.
Man, P-Funk makes me feel like, it makes me feel like spiritual, because I've grown up with it like my whole life. Like, it's been with me as long as God, almost. You know what I mean? It's been with me so long that it's like certain notes and certain moments playing it, like it becomes like it can even be emotional at some point. Because I feel like, you know, for me, P-Funk has always been constantly trying to play it better. Like, me personally, always trying to either play it better or trying to accomplish that particular emotion or feeling that you felt when you first heard it or when you first seen it live or something. And, you know, whatever those serotonin levels was doing at that one time when you first heard it, you always trying to recreate that moment. on stage, which is pretty deep, and it's so it requires you to, you know, get in tune with yourself in order to go there to that next level, that next dimension in music. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can chop it up.
No, it's all good, man. And I totally relate. You know, I don't need to play in the band to feel that and relate too. So, and that's one of the great things about P-Funk to me also, is that the listener and the audience can be right there in the same plane.
Yeah, you're working towards the same goal, with just feeling the music, whether you're playing it or listening to it. You know, and then everything is like on a certain wave. Everything's on a certain plane right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's just so organic. It's like a train or something. You know, trains don't just play and they don't just ride and just stop every 5 minutes. You know what I mean? If you on the Amtrak, it's not going to stop every 5 minutes. It's going to ride for a while. And that's how funk is. It's like this never-ending ride.
Yeah, very special frequency.
Yeah.
What would be on your bucket list, you know, musically?
Well, other than probably going some places I haven't been, which I've almost been everywhere. I haven't been to Africa yet. I haven't been to India. I haven't been to like the Philippines. So I would like to do some stuff like that. I'd like to play with some cats out here, some of the newish hip hop funk cats guys, guys like you know, Bruno and Anderson .Paak. It'd be cool to get with some guys like that. You know, one of my things was Mono Neon, but that happened a couple days ago.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So, and that was a great thing to be able to, like, you know, hang with him. And he came in, and I kind of like, you know, nobody really, you know, guys know, but you know, the older cats, you know, they're older cats, so they're gonna come over later. So I had to come over there first and talk to him. Yo, you know, me and him, we have a rapport. So I came over there and had to talk to him, and like, yo, everything's cool. You know, if you need anything, all that type of stuff. Like, I don't mind doing that type of stuff. Then I'm like, talking to him like, oh yeah, George wants you to do this. George wants you to do that. So I was that guy. So that was cool. So I got to have a little relationship with him, and maybe I can get a track out of him or something. I'd like to maybe go on the road with Chili Peppers again, or maybe even, you know, sit in with those guys or something like that.
What track did he play with you guys?
He played Get Up for the Downstroke, he played Cosmic Slop, and Red Hot Mama. But Lige played too, so it was double bass. And he was able to just, like, you know, embellish. So
yeah,
it was kind of like some funkadelic dumpster funk type thing going on. It was crazy.
That's nice. Is he talkative much, or he seems like a quiet dude?
Yeah, he's pretty quiet, you know, but you know, he'll talk if it's the right person talking to him, you know. But for the most part, he's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, he's got his little guy that kind of does his business for him and stuff. You can talk to the guy about anything, but he's talking on that bass though. At the least, he's really talking on that bass. Amazing.
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, one of the best of the younger cats.
Yeah, he's doing the new thing, and he's still got like some of that. He's got some of that Stanley, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you most proud? Where are you most proud of accomplishing, Benzel?
You know, like it's so difficult sometimes, because like you don't even know, you know, what's what. Sometimes it's like, you know, you think you're just doing a show, or you just doing this or doing that, and it ends up being something huge. And you don't even, I don't know until the show's over that we were doing this, we're doing that. I think one of my biggest accomplishments was being able to perform at Woodstock and like not die. My first biggest accomplishment was not like
surviving,
messing up. Yeah, not messing up, not dropping a stick, like staying on the one, like not turning the band around. So that was like, so I had to accomplish that first thing in order to even be able to do what we're doing now. So that was kind of a really big thing. And then, playing for Michael Jordan was pretty cool. That's always going to be huge for me.
What was that circumstance?
Michael Jordan wanted Parliament and T-Payne to perform together at his celebrity golf tournament party. So T-Payne sent us this music that we had to learn. The whole 20-minute T-Payne set, whole 21-minute set with like no click, just straight timing. It was one of the most difficult things in music I've ever had to do, other than playing like some jazz stuff or something. Like, this is definitely the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. It took me like months. Like I think we had like 3 months, and I don't think I even got to open it for like 2 months. So I had to take like 2 months to do it or whatever. And we got there and we got to rehearse with T-Payne, and he was being a stickler. And Michael Jordan just like, well, y'all going to do it anyway. I don't know how you going to do it, but you going to do it. So we ended up doing it, and it was actually really good. That was a scary moment, though.
When was that? When was it?
I'm going to have to look it up. I think it was around, I don't know, it was in Las Vegas at the Aria Hotel. Say it was around that new era, though. I would say somewhere between like 2016 and 2017. That was amazing. We played the main stage at BAM. That was cool. Got to record at what's the studio in England? I can't remember the name of the studio in England.
Metropolis?
Metropolis, yeah. So that was huge. I got to play on that. I haven't opened the record yet, so it's still in plastic. I don't think I'm ever going to open that.
That's a beautiful set.
Yeah, it was amazing. Then I got in Modern Drummer a couple times.
Yeah, which was
really big for me. I actually I went from having like an article that's like this big to having 8 pages, like right after Anderson .Paak, or right before Anderson .Paak in that magazine. So that was pretty. That felt pretty good,
Have you met him?
Oh yeah, we worked together a little bit. He was at the little jam card party that we did for George, and there was a lot of artists there. And he was one of them. So that was cool. We got to hang out and talk about music and stuff. Gotten to chop it up with a lot of guys. It's pretty amazing,
Yeah. Wow. What do you got? Anything coming up besides the tour that people should be aware of or look out for that you want to share or plug?
Oh, well, I got this new group called the Funkadelic, and kind of working with them. I'm working on some other stuff coming soon. It's going to be Benzel. I can't really tell you everything. But it's going to be a little project that we're coming out with, trying to do some more funk. And trying to add to that P-funk type of vibe, and trying to bring some new funk out here somehow. It's going to happen. New funk.
So how can people keep up with you and keep up with that?
Oh yeah, you can check me out on Instagram. I'm very accessible. It's Benzel, Benzel, BMORE. I put everything I do on there, all my shows and things like that. Obviously, I'm on Facebook at Benzel Cowan, Cowan. So you can check me out on those places. I have my own website, which is benzelbaltimore.com. So between those things, you should be able to find out what I'm doing. We're going to always constantly be out here working and doing the next show. I'll be updating you guys.
Outstanding. Hey, man, thank you for sharing all this with viewers, and thank you for keeping the funk alive, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate you guys, man. Can't wait to see you in Carolina.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth and Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.